This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
The NFL, instead of coming up with this really weak-ass rule on trying to motivate teams to hire minorities, you know what the NFL should have done? The NFL should have grabbed Stephen Ross, Tom Garfinkel, and the Dolphin organization and should have said, this is what we want the NFL to, we want the rest of the NFL to mirror this. We're not telling you, we're not forcing you to go hire minorities, but what we're telling you is that we need you to be open like the Miami Dolphins were in hiring, Chris Greer, who in turn hired Brian Flores. And now two minorities are coming off a very successful 2019 campaign where most people thought they weren't really going to win much. They ended up winning 5 games, and I know 5-11 is not successful, but 5-4 in your last 9 games, having a winning record and beating New England, it showed that they were successful in the sense that they established a culture, and now they have a franchise that clearly is trending in the upward path. And now they've got Tua, which could be the future at quarterback. And in 1 calendar year, the Dolphins hired a black general manager, a black head coach, and could have a quarterback for the future. You realize that in 1 year, they could have changed the entire fortunes of the franchise from 20-something years. And that's what the NFL should be doing, profiling the Miami Dolphins to NFL teams. And to say, hey, when you're searching for a quarterback, why don't you call Stephen Ross and Tom Garfinkel? Why don't you ask them about the process they went through and they ended up hiring a minority? Because our game is littered and filled with minorities. They have contributed to the history of this game. They have been pillars of stability for this game. Yet, we are not using them as a resource to teach our young men about what they're going through in the NFL. Because don't you think that a young black athlete wants to hear what Tony Dungy has to say? Because there's a good chance that Tony Dungy actually understands what that player's going through. Physically, emotionally, politically, everything. Because it's always easier to relate to your own. There's a reason why a lot of times we marry our own. Okay? We're comfortable with our own. They relate because they know exactly what you're going through. They know what you're thinking because they're thinking it. I can't think like a black man. I think that's white there, right? Right? Think it's white? Yeah. Can't. So I can't sit there and tell a black man what he's going through and what he's experiencing in anything in life because I can't relate to him. I can relate to him if I'm a football player and he's a football player, but at one point or another, life is going to intersect with football. Life is going to intersect with basketball and hockey and baseball and soccer. And so a lot of times you may need somebody you can relate to. And if your sport is predominantly black, it behooves you to have a lot of your leaders be black. If I was running a newspaper, not that there are many left, and I had to hire a writer to cover the Marlins, you bet your ass I'm hiring a guy that's bilingual. Yeah. That would be a requirement for me. Sorry. But I want a dude that can walk in there and talk Spanish and English like that with no problem. You know why? Check out the sport. How many Dominicans, how many Puerto Ricans, how many Mexicans, how many Venezuelans, how many Cubans are in the sport now? Some of your best players happen to be Latin. So if I know in basketball, most of my best players are black. If I know a large portion of my players in football are black. If I know that a large portion of my players in baseball are Hispanic, then kind of, and to baseball's credit, you see more Hispanics involved. A couple of them are cheating a little too much, and maybe they shouldn't. But anyway, you do have some Hispanic managers there, so they're making some headway there. If some of them would not cheat, it would kind of help. But, hey, Beltran Cora, what can I tell you, bro? Way to represent. Anyway, so I'm just saying, it's logical to go after those kind of players because those are the people that represent your sport. That's all. And listen, I'm not telling you to hire the black, the Hispanic, the Asian person just because they're black, Hispanic, or Asian. That's stupid. I'm not for that. I've never been for that. Okay? Never. But if they're qualified, damn it, dude, come on. Let's go. Give them a break. They earned it. You're not giving them anything. You're opening the door and maybe bettering your franchise, your business by allowing the most qualified individual in the door, not the most white individual in the door. That's the difference. So they should be actually profiling the Miami Dolphins all around the NFL. Instead of a stupid rule, profile the Dolphins and say, look, this is what we're looking for. Chris Grier is more than qualified. He has been in the league for whatever years, has paid his dues, and that's why he was hired. And we have plenty more like Chris Grier. Let's give them the opportunities and stop passing them over for other people who are less qualified. That's all. I just wish that the Dolphins would be, profiled instead of using some stupid-ass, silly rule that you came up with.
Yeah, but once again,
silly
the NFL has to do it wrong, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how it is.
That's their moniker. NFL doing it wrong forever.
Yeah, that's right. George Albanese says, Big O, Stephen Ross has made mistakes, but I think it's time we start appreciating the good he's done for the Finns and South Florida in general. No, I'm with you, man. I got no problem. I think Stephen Ross's heart is in the right place. Let's see. Richard says, wonder why Dolphins never had a great tight end. Yeah. I mean, Keith Jackson wasn't he was a hell of a tight end for us. Randy McMichael was a good tight end.
Edmonds had a couple years.
A little bit, yeah. His hands weren't consistent enough for my liking. But man, once he caught it and he was running.
Yes, I was just gonna say, man, if
freaking deer,
if he was running even with the safety and he caught it over his shoulder,
done.
Bye.
Done. Long legs, long strides. He was a freak athlete. No wonder both his sons made it to the league. Recently just graduated from college. At the end of my Zoom graduation ceremony, someone hacked in and pinned a message up so everyone could see with the N-word and a swastika symbol. All awful stuff. That's what Anthony says. That's terrible, Anthony. Unfortunately, that's what we have, bro. We have some disgusting people in this world. Levi Feller says Gesicki's a good tight end. Well, let's hope he turns into one. Keith Jackson, Eric Green, Mad Dog, Jim Mandich. Those were all good. Let's see. Matthew says, congrats on graduating there, Mr. Giandelletti. But he also says, stupidity lives forever. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Finn's 9113 says, "Oh, I agree with you. Why do you think it took Stephen Ross a while to do it with the front office? Bad advice?" Yeah, man. You know what it is? It's any of us that start a new business, you're going to make all kinds of mistakes. And Stephen Ross was into real estate. He's not into football. And he's a fan. So he started doing things like fans. And he didn't know the difference. And he finally figured it out. And he got out of the way. And now he hired a football person. And he let that football person do what he wants. And he's not chiming in anymore. Now he's just going to cheerlead and write checks. And that's what your owner's supposed to do. Be a cheerleader and shut the hell up.
It almost seems like wanted to take the shortcut and the glitz and the glam and the orange carpet, you know what I mean, and kind of shortcut it and the big splash, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it doesn't, all that crap is, you know,
learned his lesson.
It's bells and whistles, man. It's not substance. The only thing that matters in the NFL, the guys on the field and how they perform. That's it. If you're good, they'll come.
Yeah. No, you're right.